Hey everyone, we're back here from the event at Gamer's Choice in New York City. I'm here with Mike Bagelman, fresh off of his top 4 finish with Salad. Mike, so why don't you talk about your thoughts going into the event and what your matchups were?
Yeah, this is it was like one of the first big events after the pandemic. So like everybody came out. My thoughts were it's going to be like the Wild West, that people were going to play a lot of hate, and hopefully people were going to be rusty. So I thought I'd be able to sneak out of top, and it worked out. I wound up getting top 4 with Salad.
Awesome. So was it really the Wild West? What kind of matchups did you play on Sunday?
It was the Wild West, but I made a decision that essentially the two decks that would be really challenging would be like Sky Striker and Drytron. And I had this philosophy that the better players would be playing they'd be playing Striker. And the bad players would be playing Drytron because it was a better deck. So this is kind of idea. It's like the better players play the more control deck, and the bad players play the Drytron deck. And I wanted to make sure that I didn't lose to both. And so I built my deck to do that. And then my hope was that if I faced like Salad Mirrors or any other kind of rogue, that I would just be a better player. That was kind of my strategy, and it looked like it worked out.
Definitely. So you played 7 rounds of Swiss, and what was your record after Swiss?
I went X1-1.
X1-1, so 5-1-1. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we can get into the list.
Yeah, cool. So let's do it. So I decided to play 3 Lady Debug. The reason why I went with Lady Debug is a guaranteed Gazelle in hand, and I didn't have to take the chance of Buffalo. The other really good thing about Lady Debug is when you open Debug with mining, this is a guaranteed Ash, which means your mining resolves and you just win the game. There's another nuance in terms of why I played Debug that I'll get into later, because I played another card that facilitated rank 4 plays. The standard Gazelle. I went with 3 Spinny because, this kind of got crowed all the time. And, you wound up having to recycle a lot, so you really needed 3 cards. I went with 2 Foxy, just be able to kind of get into Stalio. You recycle Stalio a lot that they came off the ban list. I wound up playing 2 Jaguar and 1 Falco. And the interesting thing about Falco is on Saturday I did terrible. And I realized I needed Falco because you just need another 4 body. You wind up burning 2 Jaguars and then you just can't play. And the other thing is that Falco will reset the trap, which is really good for the striker kind of matchups.
And do you ever use Falco to like bounce back Gazelle?
I did at times use Falco to bounce back Gazelle if I couldn't add it back off of that. So this with Stalio coming back, it became much more of like a control-esque kind of a scenario with the potential to OTK. So you kind of could play both games, which again, why it worked really well versus like Drytron and Sky Striker, because it kind of played both really well. These were kind of the Salad-esque and the proxy kind of Salad monster
Right.
that I played. For the defensive cards, I choose Imperm. Negation is really good. Also, people literally just still play into the columns. I don't know why people do this, but like I negated a guy's tactics one time, which was like, okay. And then I negated a Sanguine, and people just like flip traps in those comps. So it's kind of weird. So this was cool. Ash, this is kind of standard. This is Salad. And then, this is what people kind of chastise me about. I played 3 Ogre, and everybody's like, Ogre, this is like throwback. The format is amazing. You want to remove a body. So if you hit the XYZ1 monster,
Fafnir?
The Fafnir, yeah. You remove the body, which means they have 2 less summons. So they go from 5 summons to 3 summons. And if I could slow the game down to 3 summons, I have a better chance of winning, or I put them on better habit. So the ability to remove a body was like amazing, and multi-rolls a card.
Yeah.
So this was really good.
In top 16, that was really effective against me. You had me locked under Dweller, and then you ogred my Fafnir. So I had no Exceed. I couldn't make Zeus. So.
Yeah, it was crazy. So removing the body was like really, really good. It was counterintuitive, but this was my quote-unquote OG spicy tech. And then I played Bell, but don't laugh. I played Bell as essentially 3 Called by the Graves, because Salad is rough, right? So you need to be able to like have like your cards not get called. So when they called, I would have Bell.
They DD Crow, they Shark Cannon,
it was
right?
terrible, man, right? So I'm like, wow, I'm gonna play 4 Called by the Grave. So I just played this. The other thing is this allows you to for Ray not to float. So this was another theory. So Bell's primary purpose was like 4 called bys, and for Ray. And it worked really, really well in that regard. So these are the primary defensive cards that I played.
Cool.
I then played, Mining, the God card. Neat to see that. Circle, I swear I drew this card 70% of my games. I don't know how. I would pile shuffle. They would cut 50 times. Opening hand, Circle. Always activated Circle and draw. They usually had draw, and they were super, super salty. Like, super salty. I think that the further I went, the better the players got. And when I activated and draw, it was like, oh, this guy's a good player. So it was really, really good. So I essentially played around draw all day long. Unfortunately, I also drew this a lot, so you have to be a good player and learn how to play with 4 cards because you do that. And then I played Monster Reborn. I chose to main Monster Reborn, and you'll see that I actually didn't main Will at all. Monster Reborn allows you to reborn debug, which allows you to then make a dweller, which allows you to win the game. And unfortunately, Will does not allow you to reborn debug. Sometimes you just like brick and you have 1 card, and this could bring the card back out of the grave to relink your wolf. So
Right.
Monster Reborn is amazing.
And now that Stalio is legal, right? You can reborn hand traps that are level 3 and use that.
Yeah, and you also see in my extra deck, I played a crazy card that sort of facilitated that. On several occasions, I made Stalio with hand traps. It was kind of like a meme. I played the Callby so I could play Upstart Goblin, sort of like 1 desires, no risk kind of concept. Pay 1,000, we don't really care. And essentially I played this package instead of Desires and Upstart and Talents. Talents is like a really interesting card because it can be Desires when you want it to be Desires. It could be Mind Control when you want it to be Mind Control, right? And it could be like Dolphin when you want it to be Dolphin. So it's like a very versatile card with very little risk. And we really need Gazelle to play at a higher level event. It's just like really, really difficult to win. And it was amazing. I won my top 8 match with this card because I was able to steal the monster, just push for 8,600. So it was like really, really cool. So the card was good.
So no Desires main deck, no?
0 Desires main
anymore.
deck, yeah. I played some purple cards too. Day 1, I didn't play this card. I was tripping. I was like, what? I was like, oh, this card's trash. I don't want to play it. Day 2, I'm like, yes, I just need the card. But still committed heresy. I only played 2. 2 was more than enough. But then I played way better versions of those cards, these. And I remember one matchup, I held the Upstart to the end because I didn't want to get rolled, and then like I upstarted into Strike, set the Strike, win the match. So Strike was just amazing. The other thing about Strike is in this format, you actually just keep it in going second because no one's going to be able to like push through it, and then they're going to have to consolidate into like an Axis code or a Moral Sword or something, and you just strike it. And they often don't have multiple ways to deal with your back row. They usually deal with it once. So if you set it the second time, they just don't have a way to deal with it the second time. And people just played into Strike all the time. And then I played 1 bomb. It's like see order, win game. Ironically, my very first game of my very first matchup, I saw order, and I didn't see it the entire day. So that was kind of interesting. So that was my main deck, 40 cards. I try to keep it thin.
Nice.
Let me kind of move all these over here real quick. And show you the extra deck. I played sort of what I call the cookie cutter salad package of 7 cards. This is just like standard. We don't really need to explain it.
So no Heat Leo?
No Heat Leo. There's really no reason to play Heat Leo in this format because it wastes 2 extra deck spots and you lose total versatility. And the card just like never resolves. And if the card gets hit, like Strike, you just could never recover. So it's really bad. You essentially make your deck worse by playing Heat Leo, and you play into just like auto losing the game. So there's no reason why you should take that risk because there's other cards that are like equally as versatile, if not better, to do the same job. So that was that was the salad package. And then I played kind of like the standard, end game quickly package, I call it, which is this. You kind of have to play this, but you have to like save your resources. People say play 2 of this or 2 of this, or essentially saying I'm bad and I make mistakes. So I just need to play multiples. If you just don't be bad and don't make mistakes, you will never need multiples. And so just use this wisely. Don't push for game unless you know you have game. Like, don't do this into back row if you don't know what the back row is. Yeah, simple. And then, since I played a lot of hand traps and I draw them a lot, and I don't always see salad cards who play Almirage, on non-zero occasions, this allowed me to make my traps lives, which is like really, really nice. So you kind of have to play an Almirage if you don't want to just like auto lose some games. You have a chance. The most interesting card of the day was Phoenix. I actually won my top 8 matchup with it because I had 2 cards. The guy set 2 back row and 1 card and activates Mystic Mine, right? Kind of puts me in better habit. I have Phoenix. I am able to consolidate and to just pop his mine, which was really, really interesting. So, the Phoenix is like an important card. This card was really good. I actually Monster Reborn somebody's Phoenix and made an access code to kill them. And then sort of my auto win card was Dweller, which I try to make every single game.
You didn't feel the need for any other rank 4s?
They really aren't, because the Baguska thing is like not a thing. Like Dweller lasts the whole turn. My whole idea is I'm like a bad player. I know this is kind of a joke, but I'm a bad player, so I need like cards to last the whole turn. I don't need cards to potentially be outed. I know if a card could last the whole turn, then I could probably win the game. So my whole deck building theory was like, orders, stuff like that. Like how do cards last whole turns? Because if I have it last the whole turn, I win the game. And you'll actually see this in my side deck. So in my main deck, it's incredibly versatile. My side deck was the exact opposite. My side deck, I went with just like blowout cards, right? If I see Droll in the right matchup, I win. If I see Nibiru in the right matchup, I win. If I see Droplets in the right matchup, I win. And this was my theme. My theme was like versatility main and blowout in the side. Since I anticipated playing a lot of strikers, I played this standard package. And also my top cut matchups, I kind of read body language of a guy and I'm like, wow, you look like somebody that would play Mystic Mine. And I got totally chastised for that. And then he literally flips mine. And of course I sided Cosmic because his body language said, you're probably better than me. I need to play Mystic Mine. So it was hilarious. So that was really, really good. And then I have like my spice. I sided one will for specific scenarios. Now, the first scenario is, if I felt like Nib was going to be in the person's hand, I would side it to go first. And versus control decks, I actually sided it to go second because I wanted to be able to recover resources. And since it's a new format and there's Natasha and there are pranks in the format, I also needed to play a burn card. So I played Paro and it won me a matchup. This is really easy. You could always get it off of Gazelle. In fact...
you got it off of Stalio, right?
Yeah. In fact, I got it off of Stalio in my top 16 match, and I did it on my 4th summon to make sure that I wasn't going to get Nibiru, and the player had Nibiru in their hand. And so the game ended in time. I won by 2,000. He had a Nibiru in his hand, and this was my 4th summon. I hope you enjoyed this deck profile. Happy to answer any other questions.
Awesome. Thanks.
I also wanted to give some shout outs. So the 4 of us drove down from New Hampshire. We played at DMC Comics in Manchester, and 3 of us wound up making top 16 at like a 180 person event, which was like super, super cool. So I wanted to give a shout out to Noah Bagelman, who's actually filming this video, and Jacob Collins, and Jose Santiago, who was the one that did not get the top, but he will get the top at the next event, right, Jose? And thanks to the Gamers Choice gang. You guys were awesome. The store was amazing. You did like a really good job. Everybody was safe, and the event was a lot of fun. So thanks for having us all.